Hey, what's going on, guys? Quick note before this video starts. This isn't the intro yet. Sorry, it's dark. I just had the idea to do this now, and I wanted to do it quickly. Before the video starts, I just wanted to say it is a good friend of mine's birthday today, tomorrow, as I'm recording this, but today as you're watching this. And I wanted to just kindly request, if anyone watching this right now, she has a YouTube channel on which she makes harp covers. She's only done one so far. She's going to do more, and I've decided that I'm not going to stop until she's famous because she's maybe the most talented person I know. So if people could kindly, it would mean the absolute world to me if anyone watching this right now could click the link at the top of the description and go over and watch her most recent harp cover. We're trying to get her to 500 views, and I think we can do it. So if anyone, it's a cover from, it's a song from Zelda. It's called Mifa's Theme. I'll leave a link in the description if people could go over, maybe leave a nice comment, leave a like, maybe subscribe, wish her a happy birthday. It would absolutely mean the freaking world to me. And yeah, that's it. I just wanted to throw this in before the video starts. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice things only, or I will take lives. I will probably, if I see any bad words in those comments, that's it. It's on site, I'm afraid. But thank you. I appreciate it. She's very talented. Go throw her some support. It would mean the world. Thank you. Enjoy the video. YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. To episode 2. Way! Episode 2 of what I've been listening to. It's finally here. Last episode was August. It's September. It's September, dude. That's how the months work. Yeah, we're just gonna ignore the fact that I started this series August of last year, and an entire year has passed, and we're doing episode 2. Yeah, so this whole monthly series thing, I mean, technically, as I said, the last episode was August, and now we're doing September. That's how the months work. Yeah, so an entire year has passed. This time last year, or a little over a year, I was going to be starting a series that was just what I've been listening to in insert month here. Yeah, so we did August 2019. It's now September. Let me just 2020. So it's been it's October now. It's the 1st. 2020. So it's been a little bit of a longer gap than I anticipated when I said that this was going to be a monthly series. I did not intend to miss 12 months. Yeah. It was one of those where, like, for a little while, it was just kind of like, oh, I kept having, like, little things that meant I couldn't do it, and then COVID happened, and then I wasn't recording anything, but now I'm finally getting back on the train. So this video is going to be a little bit messy, because it's been so long since I've done anything like this. It took me a while to even get used to doing reactions again, which is weird, just because it had been so long. I was so out of practice. It's gonna be a little bit of a weird one, so you'll have to bear with me. And I nearly didn't even do it today because I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow, hopefully. So it's peak at what as long as it'll be before I get it cut. So I was gonna put it off because I'm like, yeah, it doesn't look good. And if I'm gonna get it cut tomorrow, I may as well wait one more day. But I said no. No one more day. It's been 365 one more days since I should have been recording the last one of these. It's been too long, so we're doing it. For anyone who isn't familiar with the series, there's been one episode. You can probably guess. This is just a little bit of a series once a month where I just check in with you guys and say, hey, here's what I've been listening to over the past month, and then you guys can do the same and let me know in the comments what you guys have been listening to in the past month or so. And that's pretty much it. It's been so long since I recorded one of these that I used to use Google Play Music, and Google Play Music has shut down now. I think it shuts down in October, actually, at the end of this month, or in November maybe. So I'm a Spotify user now. Spotify has all sorts of handy things. Tells you what you've been listening to recently. I've got my Last FM scrobbling stuff. So I was having a look through last night, see what I listened to in the last month, and we're just going to talk about those. I also want to add in a little bit at the end. Every month I'm going to do a song of the month. No, fuck it, dude. Never mind. I'm taking it back. We're going to do 2 songs of the month. I just had an idea. I was like, should I do this at the end? Should I do it on the start? I'm going to do 2 songs of the month. One of them I'm going to say at the start of the video, and then we'll do all my albums that I've been listening to, and then we'll do one at the end of the video. Why not? So yes, I'm not sure. So in the last video, in the first video of this we did, I just kind of reeled off a few albums that I've listened to. I'm not sure if I'll maybe diversify it a little bit going forward, and maybe I can just talk about artists and playlists and blah blah blah. For now, we're going to stick to the album thing just for convenience. But song of the month, Dunk. This month I went with, and it's funny because we're talking about Spotify. This one isn't on Spotify, unfortunately. The song is on Spotify. There's about 8 million versions of it, but the version specifically I'll link in the description is "Will the Circle Be Unbroken" by Courtney Draper and Troy Baker on the guitar. So it took a little bit to actually kind of discover what the original version of this song was. It's been very heavily covered. As far as I can tell, this was released as a hymn in 1908 by Ada Habershon. I wasn't going to remember that name, so I had to pull it up. I heard that, so the version I first heard was the 1935 version by the Carter family. They reworked it a little bit and almost put a bit of a. It's quite a spiritual song, I guess, quite a religious song, and they kind of put a bit of more of a country spin on it, which kind of made it a little bit more accessible, I'd say. Put it out there for a lot more people to hear outside of the realm of hymns. The reason why I heard this song is because, for anyone who doesn't know, and I talked about it in a video recently, although that video won't be up yet, I'm a big fan of the video game series Bioshock. I'm actually reading the book at the minute, Rapture, which is about kind of a lot of the lore and stuff and the history and all the events that led up to the game series, to the first game, so I'm reading that at the moment. Big fan of the series, and in the third game, Bioshock Infinite, I replayed that recently. From start to finish, I'd never played any of the DLC, so I replayed the start of the game, ran all the way through to the end of the DLC for the first time, and I'm now trying to 100% the achievement stuff. And in that game, there is a scene, there are two main characters, Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth Comstock, and voice acted by Troy Baker and Courtney Draper. And there's a scene in that where they're both voice actors, basically. They both do film and TV and stuff. Although Troy Baker does actually have an album. I listened to that. I didn't mind it. It's alright. And he actually has his own version of Will the Circle Be Unbroken at the end of his album, which is completely different to this version. But he did do his own version. There's a point in the game where you come across an acoustic guitar, and then you pick it up, and then you play for like 30 seconds, and Elizabeth sings a little excerpt? Is that that word? Excerpt. Of Will the Circle Be Unbroken, and this is the full version of that. As soon as I heard that, I was like, man, I need to find, there better be a full version of this. There is. This is that. And I think this song is just incredibly mellow, incredibly soothing, this particular version of it. It's so relaxing. I feel like it can be a little bit sad if you're in kind of an introspective mood, or if you just want to relax, it can be just nice. I think part of it is the kind of memories I've associated with it, especially with the particular part of the game. When you find this guitar, it's in the basement of this like really sketchy, dodgy back alley pub in a shantytown area. As you go into the pub, someone pulls a gun on you, so it's like a really sketchy area. And you go down to this basement, and just in the middle of all the chaos, you just have this like little relaxing, like beautiful moment between the two main characters. And I feel like that kind of plays into the song. Listening to the song is having this memory of this series, this media series that I love, obviously including the book there as well, and just kind of that calming moment amongst all this chaos that you're living in the game. I feel like it's just such a relaxing song, and I feel like especially it's interesting because obviously Courtney Draper is not a singer. She did this, and she did one other song for the game, and then that was it. She's not a singer. She's a voice actress. But she nailed it, and I just think it's such a beautiful rendition of the song. Okay, album of the month probably, because I've listened to it the most. We're gonna go with Technology by Don Broco. I forgot that I did the little thing where I throw it up there in the videos. So Don Broco I discovered because I have a playlist on Spotify, which is just kind of is quite broad. I'll be honest. There's a lot of indie in there. There's a lot of alt in there, and that sort of stuff. And I was listening. I was kind of just like browsing around for more stuff to add to the playlist. I can't remember what I was listening, but I was listening to like a radio of one of the songs that was in the playlist. And a song called the T-shirt song came on, which we'll talk about later. And it grabbed me enough. It grabbed my attention enough that it made me want to listen to the whole album, I guess, and check out what Don Broco are about. Don Broco are a British band. I want to say from Bedford, maybe. But they're an English band, and they're kind of, I would say, alt rock, alternative rock, I would say. So if you're interested in that, go check them out. They have 3 albums. I've only listened to the one album, Technology, and I will listen to the other 2 at some point. But literally, I just let it run through, and then I let it run through a second time, and I must have heard it about 8, 9, 10 times in the past month. It just took me straight away. I basically just became like a massive fan immediately. They're kind of, they're a little bit different. They're a little bit different, and almost they kind of push it a little bit. It's alt rock, but then they kind of, I don't know how to describe it. I think they like to play with their sound a little bit sometimes. Like sometimes they can be really like heavy and like really attacking the senses. There's like a lot going on, a lot of layers to it. But then sometimes they can kind of be a little bit looser, a little bit more poppy. You know, kind of not a little bit lighter maybe, or you know. But I feel like they like to play with it a bit. They play with the vocals a little bit. Sometimes it's quite smooth and quite what you expect, and then sometimes they're just kind of like yelling at you. There's little spoken bits in there. They like to throw a lot at you. I think they like to play around with it a lot, with their sound and stuff, or at least from what I've heard from the one album, and that's the most recent album. So I definitely should go back at some point, listen to the other two. But I just really like kind of what they've got going on. I like their vibe. They seem to kind of their lyrics are definitely. I feel like a lot of the time it's kind of about sound first. And I don't mean this in an insulting way. There's definitely some interesting themes throughout it. They have that kind of innate cynicism within themselves, as kind of you hear in a lot of alt music. There's a song called "Come Out to LA," which is about taking off as a band and then being enticed by, I guess, a label or whoever in the industry to move over to LA because that's where all the stars are and that's where all the demand is, and that's where all the labels are, and kind of being enticed over there and having a bit of a shit time of it, because that's how it goes. But then in particular, there's songs like "Something to Drink." Took me that wasn't my favourite on my first listen. Took me a bit of an adjustment. I think the second half of the song's a little bit better than the first half, but then I was listening to that and there are some lyrics that you kind of listen to and it's like a little bit corny, a little bit cheesy at times. He's talking about, there's too many people, you better get me something to drink. And it's a bit like, you kind of, if you hone in on the lyrics, it's a little bit cheesy at times. And even my favourite song on the album is T-Shirt Song, and even that one sometimes is a little bit like, he says, there's only one song left. No time for no regrets. I take my t-shirt half off and swing it round my head. And you listen to the story, he's talking behind the scenes in interviews about how he was just having like a really shit time on tour. He was really feeling down about himself. And then they went to a bar and there was music and he just lost himself in the music and kind of just felt a little bit, just kind of lost himself in the music and kind of got that motivation back and that energy back and that happiness back. And he sort of listens to that and you see where you're coming from, but there are little lines here or there. Maybe a little bit cheesy, maybe a little bit corny, and sometimes I do feel like I like the sound of it and the melodies and kind of the way they use the vocals and stuff a little bit more than the lyrics themselves. I feel like I focus more on the oral aspects rather than the lyrical aspects sometimes, but then also sometimes they have that strength as well. Great album, or up here, probably up here, right? There you go. Okay, album 2, Bum Ba Da Bum. I listened to 0151 by The Night Cafe. The Night Cafe are from Liverpool, in case you couldn't guess. If anyone isn't familiar with England area codes, 0151, I believe is Liverpool or around Liverpool, somewhere in Merseyside. So this one, honestly, similar playlist to the last one, but this one is a lot more indie pop maybe. I just like it because it's very relaxing. So this one is kind of like they have kind of like some little like smooth jazz elements or inspiration, I would say. This album came out 2018 or 19, I want to say. So very recent. Technology was also 2018. So it's a recent one, so it's quite very modern sound to it. But I would say indie pop, quite soft, quite light, and it literally just was, again, shout out to Spotify for throwing a random song at me and me going, oh, this is relaxing, let's see what this is about. And then I put on the whole album, and the whole album has just the same sort of vibe, the same sort of feel. The first 2 times I listened to this album all the way through, both times it was in the background while I was doing something else. I think at one point I was just like gaming, and then at another point I was just watching a friend of mine's streams. Not his stream itself, he does a stream for another. It's a lot complicated, it's a long story, but I was kind of like doing different things, so I had it on in the background, and it just kind of was that. And I don't want to say this in like a negative way, like, oh, I like it, but I wasn't engaging with it. I was putting it was just on in the background. I'm not trying to say it like that. And these artists pour their hearts out into creating this work just for it to be put on in the background. I'm not saying that's, it has its merits. All I'm saying is, that's just how I absorbed it. That's how I listened to it, and it was a great time. It was very relaxing. Both late night, both of those listens were at like 2 in the morning or whatever. So maybe at some point I should sit down and just, dial all the way into it and fully listen. But as far as the sound of it goes, it was very relaxing. It was a great in fact, if you look at the cover, I feel like the cover is a pretty good representation of how I sort of feel listening to it. I feel like it's a good late night, maybe going for a drive, sitting out on a balcony, just late night in the city, just kind of taking in some relaxing. It's just relaxing. I feel like it's quite a soothing album. I like stuff like that. I listen to a lot of lo-fi for similar reasons. I like to relax. I'm a very stressed person for no reason. I just have a lot of stress I stress out about everything. So it's nice to just kind of sometimes just lock in and then just let stuff wash over me and just kind of ride the relaxation, ride the wave, Even the name of the band, The Night Cafe, just aesthetic, dude. Just aesthetic. Okay, next album, one that I've been just immensely excited for like a year now. It's been in the works. Big Sean, Detroit 2. Big Sean's been getting recognised. I feel like he's been getting recognised. As someone who's been a fan of Big Sean for quite a while, I always feel like he's one of those bit of a controversial person. So I feel like a lot of people a lot of his fans are like, hey, he has some of the songs that are like in the charts or whatever, and people don't really pay much attention to. But he has some songs. He can write, he can rap. He genuinely is a great rapper, right? He's a good lyricist when he kind of takes his time or takes the opportunity to do so. And I feel like it's one of those where it's always that controversial opinion where a lot of people online kind of don't really rate him or haven't really listened to him or feel a certain type of way about him. But I feel like over the past couple of years, people have been waking up to him a little bit. I guess since I Decided, which was 2017, and was my album of the year in 2017. And I feel like he's kind of matured a lot in his music over the past couple albums, past few albums. Dark Sky Paradise was really good. But I've always liked Big Sean, and as I said, I Decided came out in 2017 and was my album of the year, February 2017, so early on. And kind of this was announced, I guess, 19. It's been in the works for a year. We've been known about it for a year or two now. And I was excited for it. Was it good? Yes, it was good. I'm gonna be honest. I need to listen to it again. I think I've heard it 3 times. I heard it like the second it dropped, and then I went to bed and listened to it again the first thing in the morning, and then I think I've listened to it a little bit, but I haven't listened to it for like a couple of weeks now since it came out. So I probably should have listened to it again before doing this video so I could kind of go into more detail with it. But I don't think people are that bothered anyway. It's just like a quick look. I'm just talking what I've been listening about, But it was I think it's potentially one of the best hip hop albums of the year, maybe, or for me personally. I definitely need to get back on the train and listen to some more. However, I feel like he just does a great job of it's called Detroit 2 because he had the mixtape Detroit. And he does a great job of making it feel like there's a lot of Detroit-based rappers on there. He includes a lot of people on there. Covers a lot of tones, a lot of feelings, a lot of sort of he's had a lot of issues over the past couple of years, Big Sean, with like self-doubt and like trying to find himself and figure out who he is as a person, and struggled a lot with his mental health and stuff. And I feel like there's a lot of the album gives off that kind of surmises that feeling of facing adversity, but also trying to find the way to come through that adversity. And I feel like he covers a lot of that the elements of what he's been through. How he came through that, and then where he is now as a person, being happy with himself. He's quite a spiritual guy as far as I know, so a lot of that comes into it as well. But I feel like that kind of feels like without directly being like, hey, this is what it's about. I feel like that's kind of a bit of an overarching theme of the album, is kind of just that what he's been through over the past couple of years and what he's struggled with, but then not letting that get him down and kind of celebrating getting over that and just the adversities themselves and kind of celebrating life and coming through what you come through. And that's kind of what I took from a lot of it. I really like Full Circle. I really like Guard Your Heart. I really like Deep Reverence. And there's some songs that are just bops on there as well, like the one Don Life, which if you watch basketball, you probably have heard because it's the anthem or the theme of the finals or something they named it. I just enjoyed it. I just had a good time with it, and it's nice when you've got expectations for an album. You're waiting for an album that comes out and you have a good time with it. I'm glad I had a good time with it. And I also like he does this little thing. Where he has they call some story time with, and he takes a person and they tell a story about Detroit. So he had Erykah Badu, he had, let me pull it up, Erykah Badu, Dave Chappelle, and Stevie Wonder. He does Story by person, and then they just kind of say something about Detroit, and it was just nice. It was just a good time. I enjoyed it. Next album, I'm only gonna do 4 today. I think I was gonna do 5. I think I did 5 last time, but I feel like this video is going on for a little too long, and I need to. This series will get better. I'll figure out the format a little bit better. I'll get a little bit smoother with it, and we'll figure it out, and it'll be a little bit less of just me talking shit for half an hour, hopefully in the future. So we'll leave it to 4 for now. I had some honorable mentions. I was going to talk about Psychodrama a little bit. A fantastic album. Maybe we'll talk about it next month. But let's do AM by Arctic Monkeys. The last 3 months I've been on a fat Arctic Monkeys binge. AM. The funny thing about AM is it's quite a liked album, very highly rated, well received. Not many people dislike AM. My Animal Crossing flag, by the way, big fan of this album. This isn't something new. My Animal Crossing flag is the AM album cover. I'll try and throw a screenshot on screen, but I can't. That might be a pain. This is it's funny because this is an album that a lot of Arctic Monkeys fans are always like, hey, when people say they've heard AM and they liked it, people are always like, hey, they have more than just AM. Hey, you should listen to other stuff more than just AM. You should listen to Favorite Worst Nightmare. You should listen to whatever I say, etc., etc. People are always saying to people that have heard AM, if you like AM, people are like, hey, Arctic Monkeys are more than just AM. You should listen to more. And I agree. My Favorite Worst Nightmare, incredible album. Whatever you say I am, incredible album. People have mixed opinions about Humbug and Suck It and See. I like both of them. I like pretty much everything they've done. I'm a big fan. However, I've got to say, it is my favourite Arctic Monkeys album. I definitely listen to different albums for different reasons. I would listen to this album for completely different reasons to what I would ever listen to. Well, any of them, I guess. Definitely completely different reasons to what I would listen to Whatever You Say I Am, and probably different reasons to why I'd ever listen to something like Favorite Worst Nightmare. I adore those albums as well. Don't get me wrong, love both of those albums. This one definitely has a completely different vibe. They definitely progressed a lot. They changed a lot as they went on. And obviously, Tranquility Base Hotel after this was completely different from this. So they're one of those bands. They've changed a lot. They've been very different. For anyone who doesn't know Arctic Monkeys, another British band. 3 of 4 of the artists that they've been British. Coincidence. Another British band. They're an indie band. Now they changed a little bit. Earlier on, they were a lot more punk inspired. I would say it was a lot faster paced. The first album, and then kind of definitely the first half of My Favorite Worst Nightmare, or most of My Favorite Worst Nightmare. A lot more punk inspired, a lot faster, a lot more at you, a lot more aggressive, and almost I would say traditional, maybe a little bit grittier, a little bit more rough around the edges in terms of the way the band performed and played. AM is definitely a lot more polished. The production is a lot cleaner. There's a lot more production value, so to speak. Obviously, at this point, they had more investment in them, in being in the label and stuff. As opposed to being, starting out earlier on, as always is the case for pretty much any artist with their first album compared to their 5th album. It's just a natural thing, right? It happens. But it definitely is a lot cleaner, a lot more polished, and I think a lot more, I would say more accessible. I would say AM's more accessible than the earlier stuff. But it just is one of those albums where there's no skips on it. On the first couple albums, there's still a couple songs that I tend to skip over. There's no skips on AM for me. Some people don't like Number One Party Anthem. Some people don't like Mad Sounds. I like it. I like the way the album comes in hot. Do I Want to Know? Iconic indie song. And then you keep it going with songs like Are You Mine? We've got Arabella on track 4. That still hits pretty hard, especially the solo that comes in. But then I feel like I've always felt like the album. So obviously the cover, it kind of goes. It's like it comes down and comes back up, and I almost feel like it's kind of like that, but not like that specific. Like I feel like the album does feel like a wave, feels like a bit of a sound wave. You come in like really high, really hot, with Are You Mine and with Arabella and I Want It All and stuff, and then it comes down a little bit in the middle. Mad Sounds, Number One Party Anthem, Fireside, and then you kind of pick it back up. You got Why Do I Call Me When You're High. And then it kind of, knee socks snap out of it that are not quite as, aggressive or Oh, maximum file size reach. It started a new recording. That's weird. Okay, my phone just popped up saying maximum recording file size reach, so a new recording has been started. Hopefully nothing was cut off there. But then, you know, you come to like Snap Out of It and Knee Socks, which are not quite as aggressive as some of the earlier songs, but are still like a little bit higher than the middle. And then you just rise off. The waves hit the beach, and then you just see the water kind of fizzle off and roll over the beach, and then that's I Want to Be Yours. So I do feel like it does feel like a big wave, both of the water variety and also the sound variety. You kind of follow through with the album as it goes, and I just feel like the album has a good shape to it. I feel like the album has a good shape to it. You know, if you want that aggression, you've got something like maybe not Arabella. Yeah, you've got something like Arabella. You've got Are You Mine? You've got Do I Want to Know, which is iconic for a reason. It's so well written in my opinion, as is pretty much the whole album. If you want something smoother, you've got something like Mad Sounds. You've got a number one party album. You've got the bops in Snap Out of It, and then I Want to Be Yours, which I can't help but just scream at the top of my lungs every time, and not actually, I don't mean that, because people would hate me, but because I listen to that song a lot, and people would definitely get sick of it, but inside, I'm screaming it from the top of my lungs, and I Want to Be Yours, incidentally, one of my favourite songs of all time. I just feel like that wraps it up now. It's one of my favourite albums, and it's what I've been listening to over the past month, as well as some other Arctic Monkeys, but I felt like I'd zone in on that one because I love it nearly and dearly to my heart. I hold it nearly and dearly to my heart. It's a great album, Okay, so I want to wrap it up, but I did say I'd do another song of the month at the end, because this video, I wanted them to be not this long, so we'll work on it. We'll get better. I'll get better. My other song, as I mentioned earlier, from Don Broco's Technology, I wanted to mention the T-shirt song, just because I've listened to it probably more than any other song this month, and I kind of just want to know people's thoughts on it. If people want to go and check it out, they can do. I'll leave a link in the description to the 2 songs of the month. I said I'd link the other one anyway because it's not on Spotify. So let me know what people think, and I'd be interested to hear. I don't know what it is about it necessarily. I just like the sound of it. I like how you can kind of sing along to it. You can really, like he says in the song about taking his t-shirt off and swinging it around his head. I feel like you can just lose yourself to it. It's very liberating. But also I like the lines about in the chorus he's saying, I wouldn't be what I be without you. I wouldn't necessarily word it like that if I was saying it naturally in a conversation. For the song it works though, and I just like that. And in the context of the song, I think he's talking about an ex, and he's saying about, you know, a breakup, both good and bad, but he's saying, you know, the negative things have changed him in a good way, and he's come through the adversities and blah blah blah. I feel like he's saying more that sort of thing, but in my head I took that as, you know, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for everyone, and I feel like some of my friends in particular have been just have made the world of difference in terms of surviving 2020 mentally for the most part. But and that I found that song at the right time. When I was listening to that song, it just made me think of my friends, and I was like, you know, I wouldn't be who I am right now if not for some of my close friends. And I feel like that kind of hit really close to home for me, that one particular line, even though he's not meaning it in that way in the song. When I hear that song, I'm like, it makes me think of my friends. It makes me think of my friends, dude, and the good times I've had with him. But I'd be interested to know what other people think of the song in terms of the sound of it, but also what do people think of the lyrics? Like, are people like, yeah, some of the lyrics are a little bit corny, but I can look past it? What do people think? And maybe check out Don Broco if you like that song. That was the one song that I heard that made me check out the whole album. So if you like that song, let me know. I keep looking to the left. I'm sorry, my Spotify's been a little... I love Spotify. It's once I got used to it, it's so many features. A boy doesn't know what to do with all these features. But it does do weird things sometimes. It crashes sometimes, and I'm just looking. It does this thing. I don't know if it does it for anyone else with the friend activity on the right hand side. Sometimes all your friends just disappear, and it feels very lonely. It stresses me out. I open up Spotify and all my freaking friends are gone, dude. It's like an apocalypse on my Spotify account. There's one friend on there, shout out Maria. Maria's still up there for some reason, but everyone else has just disappeared. I don't know why it does that, but there you go. So thank you for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed. Listen to the T-shirt song, or don't. Listen to Will I Be Unbroken. Will the circle be unbroken? You know what I'm saying. Thank you for watching. Yeah, like I said, this video was absolute chaos. We're gonna hopefully get a little bit smoother next month, but I'm gonna do one next month, or I won't. It's me, who knows. I'm going to try and do one next month, and hopefully they'll get a little bit smoother, a little bit more polished as we go on. But for now, I figured what better way than to just grab the bull by the horns and go for it. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you guys have been listening to over the past month or so. Let me know if there's anything I should listen to next month. There's a reaction channel. I'll do reactions. Other than that, my throat's about to go because I didn't bring any drinks with me and I've been talking for 40 minutes. So I'm going to go drink and also consume some food. Thanks for watching. I'll see everyone next time. Peace.